Hi, everybody. Happy November. Welcome to Great Books, Big Ideas. It's November 1st, Friday, November 2024. Thought it'd be time for a quick reading update. And it's going to be quick because I'm in a bit of a reading slump, unfortunately. Things have really slowed down for me out of the blue. I finished those two books by Shirley Jackson and Sigmund Freud. And then I'm still reading, but I'm just not finishing anything right now. So it's a little bit frustrating. But let me give you the quick rundown of what I'm actively reading, and let me know in the comments what you're reading. So anyway, I'm getting through this Hesiod translated by Richmond Lattimore, and I finished the works in days. And now I'm reading the Theogony, and there's one more work in here, the Shield of Heracles. If I could just sit down and devote a little more time to reading, I would easily finish this. I'm probably about 50 pages to go, and it's a nice translation. I'm liking it a lot, but I don't have a whole lot to say about it right now, other than it seems very foundational, ancient Greek poetry. Surprised it took me this long to get around to reading Hesiod. But if you're looking for a decent translation, this seems to be quite decent to me. I recommend that you maybe can find it used. I am making some progress in Borges's collected fictions, so I'm up to, like, this book is kind of divided into different. I'm assuming they were book releases with different short stories in them. So A Universal History of Iniquity I finished about 3 weeks ago. I did finish Fictions from 1944. I'm sorry, like, under the fictions rubric, The Garden of Forking Paths is a collection which contains the stories Tlan Ukbar Orbis Tertius, The Approach to Al Mutasim, Pierre Bernard, author of the Quixote, The Circular Ruins, The Lottery in Babylon, A Survey of the Works of Herbert Quain, The Library of Babel, and The Garden of Forking Paths. Just that one collection, if you were to maybe read only one collection by Borges, that might be a good place to start, because there are several classic stories in there, some of my favorites. The Circular Ruins would be right near the top of my list, along with The Garden of Forking Paths, which is about a labyrinth, not the kind of labyrinth you might think of, though. And Tlan Ukbar Orbis Tertius is very, very fascinating speculative fiction. Also, Pierre Menard, author of the Quixote, is fascinating metafiction about, this guy like trying to write Don Quixote like word for word, all like exactly as it was presented. And I'm not doing a great job of explaining it, but it's really fascinating speculation about that. So those were very satisfying reads, all those stories. And now I'm into the collection called Artifices, which was released in 1944. And you can see the storyline up there. I think most of these are going to be new to me, except for his story, The South, which I remember reading in college. One of the first Borges stories I read. But all the other ones I think are new to me. So anyway, yeah, for some reason I got bogged down. I haven't come back to Borges, but I will, because he's kind of satisfying this urge to read shorter things, so I can just kind of sit down and read a short story in one sitting and get some satisfaction out of it. So probably when I finish Hesiod, I'll turn back to Borges. I also did read a few more chapters in the Joyce Carol Oates, You Must Remember This, and I'm probably about 80 pages in, 84 pages into it. What I like about this story so far is the realism of it, the historical realism. This takes me back to a time before I was even born, probably about 10, 15 years before. So we're in like the 1950s, Cold War America, the Red Scares, this industrial town in upstate Western New York. just the sense of place that she evokes, the descriptiveness of the writing, the sort of thumbnail sketches and summaries of the characters and what they're going through. Really, really well done so far. But we'll see where she takes the novel. It holds my interest, but again, I've been slumping, so I haven't been reading as much of it as I would like to. But just the other day, I snapped out of my reading slump a little bit, and I read about 3 or 4 chapters in that one. This is probably the last one I'll talk about. I failed to mention this in my last 1 or 2 reading updates, but it's a little library find. And it is Harold Brodkey Stories in an Almost Classical Mode. You can see the dust jacket is ripped up. So I found this in one of the little free libraries. The funny thing is, we used to have this exact edition. The dust jacket was in a lot better shape. I wonder if this is the same edition that I probably got rid of. I don't remember where I disposed of it. It might have been in a little free library. I might have just donated it to the local senior community bookstore called Second Reading. I'm not sure where I got rid of it. I like Harold Brodkey. My wife likes him. There's a short collection of his that was published in a Vintage Contemporary series, which we both read. She read it first, recommended it, and I really liked it. I think we still have that, but this just seemed a little bit too much for me to tackle, and I never got around to reading it. And when we were going through one of our periodic purges, we offloaded it, we unhauled it, but when it's sitting there in a little free library, I thought, hey, I know I'm not going to keep this, so let's just borrow it and give it a chance. And so I did read the first couple short stories in here. One thing I noticed is this was published in 1988, by the way, and the stories go back to 1963. And the first story in the collection is called The Abundant Dreamer. And this story is like 55 pages. So it's a long short story. This took me a bit longer to get through. And I'd say for the first half of this story, which is kind of about a filmmaker and his family life and his coming of age plot, sort of, as he's like reminiscing, but it's also like a double plot where he's making a film in Italy. It didn't grab me at all. I mean, the writing was really rich and textured and descriptive, but I was having a real hard time cracking into it. And then I'd say about halfway through the story, it started to click better for me, and I read it through to the end and generally liked it. I mean, I wasn't like wowed by the story. I don't want to give too much of it away, but it was, I kind of saw like what he was doing, like, but it took me a while to break into it. And then the second story was much shorter, and this is called On the Waves, and this is set in Venice, Italy. A father and his daughter, and it's kind of much shorter. It's like, I think it's less than 10 pages. So I just breezed through it. It was okay. It felt a little bit slight. So the question is, how much of this book am I going to read? I'm not sure. I think I'll just keep dipping into it. They are short stories, but some of them are long short stories. But I'll just see, and I hope it grabs me enough that I want to finish it, but I also want to be willing to bail out on a book that's not doing a whole lot for me. I think he's a very fine writer. I'm just not sure over the long haul if I'm ready to read. How many pages is this? It's almost 600 pages of fiction by him, but we'll see. But yeah, it was just fun to pick up a copy that I had discarded probably 2 years ago. And I half wonder if this is the very same exact copy. I know the dust jacket was in a lot better shape than this is. But yeah, so that's a little bit of progress I'm making on things. And yeah, I mean, I haven't really picked up anything new to read yet, but that's generally what's going on. Now, I guess the bigger question here is, why am I in a reading slump? Do you ever get into a reading slump? And what is your advice for getting out of that slump? I'm not, I'm listening. I'm all ears. I'll leave some notes in the comments about that. But I think I understand why I've slowed down in the last couple of weeks. One reason is because I'm writing more. So I've got some professional freelance writing gigs, which I've been doing now, like on an ongoing basis. But there's been a couple tough projects that have been occupying more of my time. So, I'm a little busier with that. But I've also been doing more creative writing, and it's nice to get back into that again. And I've finally gotten back into a daily journaling habit at night. So some of my nighttime reading has been supplanted by journal writing. And that's a trade off I'm willing to make for now. But I am at the point, I got to the point this week where I was really missing my reading life. That's why, like one afternoon, I picked up the Joyce Carol Oates again, and it was good to get back into that. So I just have to find the right time of day to sneak in some chapters or some stories and try to finish some things. But yeah, that's a quick update for where I am. I've just been generally a little bit more creative lately. I've been practicing music again, and that's occupying some time. And these are all kind of necessary things that I want to do. I'm exercising a little bit more too. I'm back on the treadmill on a more regular basis. But you can't do it all the time. So I have to like find some hours in a day where I can like sneak in some reading. But what are your tips for getting out of a reading slump? I'd love to know. And let us know in the comments what you're reading right now or what you finished. I think that's going to wrap it up. Like I said, it's a quick update because I've not been nearly as active as I would want to be. One of the reasons for making this video was to sort of kick my ass into gear and say, like, let's start talking about books again. And talking about them makes me want to read them more, and we'll see where it goes. But anyway, I hope to be back with another update or some fresh content on other topics real soon. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. It helps to build support for the channel and extends our reach. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you're well.